Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read, and today I'm going to be doing my March wrap up. So, in the month of March, I actually managed to finish all of the books right in the nick of time that I had on my TBR. I finished my last book yesterday on March 31st at like 8 o'clock in the evening. So yeah, it was right down to the wire and I got it all done, but I had to get it done because I needed to have the entire month of April for my magical readathon TBR. I wanted to be able to dedicate the entire month to that because I want to try and complete all the prompts for it. So yeah, I powered through and I got that book done. And the last book I finished on was a big chunker, so it took me a while to get through it, but I did it. So, woo! Okay. So anyway, let's jump into my feelings on the books that I read in the month of March. I'll start off with the graphic novel that I read, and it was literally the first day of March, so my thoughts on it are going to be brief because it's been a while since I looked at it, but it is Aquaman Volume 3 Crown of Atlantis, another one that I got for a super good deal. As you can see, only $6.99. Great prices. So this one is just kind of like continuing along with the Aquaman series that I've been going through. And in this one, we face a couple new threats that are not Black Manta this time. And so Aquaman has to deal with those as well as ruling Atlantis and being that bridge between Atlantis and like the land walkers, aka us. So it's really interesting to like see his dynamic there. There is also a part in this one where he teams up with a group of like naval officers that are like a special hybrid unit that actually attacked him in previous issues, and now he's teaming up with them to combat a new enemy. And so I thought that was really cool that they like came back into play and they teamed up because they were villains before. So that was kind of fun. And yeah, I thought this one was action packed and definitely continued rolling on with Aquaman's storyline. I'd probably give this one like a 4 out of 5 stars, I think. Moving on from that, I read Luck of the Titanic, and so this is one of the books that I had on my NetGalley TBR. This one I got ages ago. I believe I got it in 2020, so sorry, I'm awful at my TBR, I know. But I actually really enjoyed this one. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I did not have like super high expectations because it's a historical fiction and like that's not my favorite genre, but I do really like the Titanic. I mean, I've always been partial to like the second half of the VHS set where it's like the sinking part, but I have always really enjoyed that storyline, and I have family members that are really interested in the Titanic, so like I've grown up learning about the Titanic my whole life. So this was really interesting to see from a different perspective of a Chinese woman that kind of like snuck her way onto the Titanic and goes from there. I really liked the dynamic of her and her brother because her brother is the one that she's trying to find on the Titanic so that they can like audition for somebody that works in the circus in New York because they're planning to be acrobats in the circus. And so she has to meet up with her brother and then they have to like orchestrate all of that. I found it really interesting to see like the Titanic through their eyes because it's not really the perspective you're used to. When it comes to the Titanic, you're usually following like the rich people. And so this is like a different perspective, and it was really interesting. Like I got to see different parts of the Titanic that I wouldn't have, well, I mean, I'm imagining them in my head, but like these are parts of the Titanic that I wouldn't have thought about before. So that was really fun, and I grew attached to some of these characters pretty quickly. They built it up for like 60% of the book is built up, and then the last 40% I would say is where the Titanic events actually start happening. But yeah, at the end of this book, like I was getting emotional because of like how attached I grew to some of these characters, and it didn't play out the way I was expecting. So that was intense. Like, yeah, it threw me for a loop, but it was a really good book. Like I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I would suggest this one. Next up, I read Bad Boy with Benefits. So this is another one of my Harlequin books. I like to throw these on my TBRs because they're fast, quick reads. This one was following, I don't know, I don't think she was a princess, but she's like an heiress of this like rich company. And so she actually also does the account management for that company. And so she goes to this guy's like whiskey distillery to do like an appraisal of it because her father is looking to business partner up with this guy. And so she's there doing a business appraisal, and she starts catching feelings for this guy. I mean, it's a romance novel, so like obviously things start happening, and from there the story goes. I would say this one was okay. Like there wasn't anything too exciting about it. It was pretty much your standard romance novel, like what you would expect from that. Yeah, it wasn't like crazy exciting. I will say that this one did get a little spicier than some of the other Harlequins I've read. So I was here for the spice and I enjoyed that part. But yeah, it was pretty standard. I would probably give this like a 3 out of 5 stars. Just an average book with a little extra spice in there. But yeah, if you like that, then this is something for you. Then the next book I read was Eli Nelson and the Prophecy of the Child. So this is the book that I pulled from my TBR jar. And this is the one that was kind of like a middle grade fantasy about a kid that goes to like another world and has to go on like this extravagant mission with their talking toothbrush. I know it sounds so weird, but it was okay. It was weird. It was a very weird book. It's definitely like middle grade in regards to like character and emotional depth, I would say, because like a lot of very heavy things happen to this main character and they just kind of like brush it off and continue on with their journey. So it was kind of written in the sense where it's like a middle grade adventure. The character has like the younger mindset, so they don't really take on too much of that emotional trauma that they're going through. It was more kind of like the like la-di-da, let's go along with the adventure kind of thing. The main character is said to be 16 though, so I feel like there would be a little bit more emotional depth, and I think that was kind of missing from this. Just judging by the things that they went through. Like I know if I went through these things, like I would be traumatized. So I just feel like it wasn't conveyed enough how they were like dealing with these things internally. I did like though that this one was very sarcastic. Like there's lots of little sarcastic quips and a lot of like references to pop culture or like real things that are from like this kid's world, which is Earth, but he doesn't spend most of this book on Earth. Like he's in a different realm, and so he's just like referring to things happening there, but like referring it back to his world. So for example, some like fight scenes happening and he's like talking about how he would envision that, except he does it like on Xbox with a controller instead of like using a sword and shield. So stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I feel like the book was a little bit longer than it needed to be. This is the first in a series, so it's going to continue on. I don't know if I'll continue with that series just based on my feelings on this one. Like, I'm probably only giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. It was a decent read. Like, there was nothing really wrong with it. I just think that the character needed a bit more, like, emotional depth to their character. They needed a little bit more development in that sense. But yeah, overall, it was, like, a fun middle grade read. And if you like fantasy, there's like war, there's battles, there's pirate ships, there's talking toothbrushes, like there's all sorts of stuff in here, so could be for you if that's something you like. And then the last book I read in the end of March, and this is the one that I just finished yesterday, was The Jigsaw Man. So this is another arc that I had, actually. I've had this since 2021. Yeah, I know I am so bad for like getting to my arcs, but I'm trying. I'm still going through them, as you guys can see. So this one is following a detective who is investigating a murder case. It starts out with a murder that is very similar to a case that this detective was on years ago, following a serial killer spree where he was called the Jigsaw Man, and he would leave his victims dismembered, like a jigsaw. And so this investigative detective is jumping back into this with a new crime scene that is very similar to this serial killer's like style, and ends up having to go to this serial killer in jail and talk to them about their case and kind of like get their advice on how to like go through trying to figure out who this new killer is and what their next steps are going to be. This one was a chunker. It's like 500 pages. It was pretty intense though. Like the chapters are all really short and they definitely like pull you in. You feel like you are a part of this murder investigation as you're going through, and you are trying to piece it together and figure it out at the same time that this detective is trying to figure it out. So I thought that that was really fun. It was like a very engaging way to have the book written, because I was just like, I was trying to piece it all together the whole time, and I had all these different theories happening. I kind of wish one of my theories was true. It wasn't, but I thought it would be really cool if that was like a big twist at the end. The ending was good, but it wasn't. It wasn't like what I was expecting, and it was kind of like, I don't know. It was a good ending, but I feel like it could have been better. So that's why I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars and not a 5 out of 5 stars. I will say the book was very engaging. It kept me pulled in the whole time. I just wish the ending was a little bit better. But overall, a solid murder mystery. Well, I guess not a murder mystery. A solid, like, true crime vibe book. It's definitely fictional. I did check because I was like, if this is real, this is messed up. So I'm glad that it's not real. But it definitely gives you like the true crime feel in the way that the book is told. So yeah, if you like that kind of thing, then this would be a good one for you. Also, trigger warning for gore. It does get quite gory in some scenes, that even I myself was like feeling a little queasy at. So be warned about that. But yeah, if that's something that's up your alley, then this might be a book for you. And those are all the books that I read in March. Overall, it was a pretty good reading month. I enjoyed most of the books I read and had a good time with them. Let me know if you've read any of those books in the comments down below, or tell me what your favorite book that you read in March was. If you guys want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Coffee page, which I'll put in the description down below, as well as a link to buy my bookmarks. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. I post my videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays, although lately it's been a little sporadic, but I'm trying my best. And as always, guys, keep on reading.